Good morning, folks. This soap is brought to you by Victory Shaving Company. Name of this one here is Gunner, and it is a musk and citrus scent. Comes in a screw top tin. That's what soap looks like on the inside, and it's fairly firm, but soft and pliable. Scoop out, put in a bowl. Got the alum block without the rubber band. Unscented witch hazel that's mentholated. Got the Barbedeaux aftershave. Off camera I'll be using the Shaven Sailor Beard oil. Yesterday's razor was a contour, the first one. You see its push button design. It's got a satin finish on the head. And this is where the push button part. It's fairly well designed, I would say, in that the handle fits quite nicely in the hand. It's got grips here. That's plastic on this side. This one here is a contour too. You can see there's a slight difference in between them. This one is not a push button, but the flip top. And you might be able to see Jim right there. It's a pretty smooth shaver. I wouldn't, might be teetering in between right there at the point of mild and medium. Pretty good shaver. Great shave yesterday. Got the lather whipped up in a vanillate bowl. It's plastic. And this brush right here came by the way of Greg Wagner. You can find him on Facebook. He's got a buy sell trade group, and it's a little bit on the moist side there. And I think I forgot to take my watch off again. Go ahead and get that taken off. Already put a hot towel to the face this morning. Got the pre-shave soap. It is definitely getting smaller, but still, it just does not seem like it's going to go away anytime soon, that's for sure. This is a Wednesday morning for me. Feeling just a little bit under the weather. Yesterday it was a lot worse. Should have plenty of pre-shave on my face there. Weather has changed quite a bit here. It's getting cooler in the evenings, but I think it's going to be warming up a little bit later on this week. At least I'm going to try to. Yeah, I think I got it worked in pretty well. That's a synthetic knot, by the way. I have a link down below for Victory Shaving. They have a relatively new soap out. The 4 ounces of soap of that one, that new one is, can't remember what the name of the soap is now. Anyhow, it'll run you about $13. I think it's roughly $3 for the shipping. It smells good. I can actually smell this. I smell the citrus. I don't pick up the musk, but that's my nose. It has not been doing well this past week. Last week, this week. Yeah, take your pick, huh? I have a gem blade, Teflon coated, and it's on its, this will be its fourth use. Finding the angle is relatively easy for this shaver, in my opinion. The design on the underside is fairly typical. In other words, you have your stop hooks, or your guides, if you will, right up front. Notches on the side. Doesn't have the center post. I noticed that Douglas had released his new version of the Double Overcomb Ascension. It's a DE adjustable of sorts. That head design looked pretty interesting, where it seems to be more curved. I think I'm going to wait just a moment on that one. I don't have one of them, the first one, or the Evolution. No, I don't have one at all from Douglas. One of these days I'll get to it. Looks like a pretty good shaver by, I guess you might say, all accounts I've ever read about them. They've been pretty good shavers. I think the first one, the only complaint I remember hearing about the first one is that it's a little on the mild side, and guess you might say in a group of aggressive shavers, it doesn't hurt to have a mild one from time to time for a day that maybe you're not up to 100% and you need a shave, but you don't need quite the focus of a shavette or one that's quite aggressive across the grain. Kind of tell how that's designed right there. It's good for the pinky right there. Matter of fact, this was the, if I remember right, yeah, this was the last razor that Jim made. They still make blades, but this was the last of the shavers. And this is a very smooth shaven shaver. You could shave with this one every day, I'm pretty sure. There's not a whole lot of the blade feel that you might feel in some of the others. It'll definitely get the job done though, even with this blade being on the 4th use. Yes, very smooth. Mercy. I forgot just how smooth these shavers were. Shaved with a contour yesterday, and it was just such an enjoyable shave. Sometimes it's good just to have those kind of shaves where you, I guess you might say, just have, you're just getting your shave in, not having to focus like with a shave head or a straight razor so much about the angle, pressure. And this one here, it's, I think you could probably have your technique just a little bit off on the pressure and still be okay with this shaver. As long as you keep your angle pretty decent, I think you'll be alright. Scent is nice. I like the citrus. Probably could have went with Aqua Velva Musk with this one also, in the way of aftershaves. Going against the grain now. Just a little bit of feedback. You can kind of tell it doesn't have a problem with the lather either. Moves it right on through the bottom. even with a, guess you might say, a yogurt type lather. My wife was looking on Facebook last night. She found something that tickled her fancy. Talking about a marriage, and a happy one. And what the saying is, with the marriage, the wife stays happy because she continues on doing what she wants to do. And the husband does what she wants to do. So it's a happy marriage. Kind of made me think of happy wife, happy life. Yep. As long as he's doing what she's want, yeah, it'll be just fine. See, that's pretty smooth. Even, I mean, as a smooth, gentle shaver, I would say, my face is still pretty smooth. Really don't even feel the need. That was about the only pickup I got left. I mean, if you really hunt, for me, I can find a spot here and there, and it's usually my usual spots. In other words, nothing new or unusual with the shaver and where it may have missed. To me, it's efficient. It was just very smooth. It's not aggressive at all. Might be a good one if you're starting out with a single edge. This might be a good one too. There are a number of single edge shavers that aren't quite as aggressive as others. Be good for somebody to start out with if you just experimenting, dabbling into the single edge. And this might be one that a person will be, I guess you might say, a little bit more comfortable with, just due to the fact of the blade loading and how it looks. It doesn't, how can you say, appear to look old. There's not a whole lot to go wrong with these. The biggest problem is this one here had quite a bit of crud on the cap, and I just took a Neverdoll and just lightly went over the top of it, smoothed it out. If you look real close, there's little pits here and there, but it doesn't affect the shave at all. And you can kind of tell on the back side there that there's bubbles coming out from underneath, but still shaves just fine. Push button would be your biggest thing to watch for in one this style. This one here would be the spring on the flip top. This one here seems to work pretty well. There's the blade right there inside, and you can kind of tell it's got the notches made out there, but those guides, that's what you have. So your blade placement will be the only trick. In other words, just line it up before you close it, and you'll be good to go. And you can kind of tell it's not that tough. It's pretty easy to deal with. Outside of that, the blade alignment would be the only thing somebody might have a trouble with, because on the underside there's nothing to help keep it from moving from right to left. There's no notches on the cap on the underneath, or a post I should say, or guides to go in the notches on the blade. But it's really simple. It doesn't take much to line it up. Close the top, you're ready to go. Pretty decent shaver. Could shave with that one all week. I'd get spoiled though, because it's more or less an effortless shave on my part. We'll see what the alum block has to say. I know yesterday it had very little. There was really nothing to be taught. Almost dropped it in the sink. Now you know why I miss my rubber band. I got one spot right there. Jill had recently got some Barbedeaux, and for me, Barbedeaux is one of those, excuse me, is one of those aftershaves that just really seems to do a lot for my face. Very, very happy with, I guess you might say, the effect that it has on my face. Just really nice. As soon as I put it on, I can feel the difference on my face, and just in moments later, I mean, it's just a huge difference after the shave on how my face feels. But right now, the only thing I've got that comes close to that kind of feel is this witch hazel. It's got menthol in it. That menthol makes all the difference in the world in my shaves afterwards. In other words, if you have a bad shave, or if you're like me and your bathroom was designed without a vent, in the summer it gets quite warm, a menthol is not such a bad thing to have. But Jill and I were talking about Barbedeaux, and talking about she felt like it had an oily, I was going to say aftertaste, but it's not an aftertaste. I guess you might say side effect or afterwards. In other words, it doesn't dry up. I hadn't really noticed it, but then again, I haven't been paying attention to it either. Because with my routine, the way that it is, for instance, okay, so here pretty soon, I go ahead and I put the aftershave on. In other words, my normal routine off camera, I'm cleaning up the bowl, I'm cleaning up the brush, in other words, and I'm putting on the beard oil, and then I'm leaving out of the bathroom, and I'm doing my posting and whatnot in the mornings, and trying to catch up on a video or two before I run out the door, come back in here, and whatever I choose for the clone of the day, that's what I pick. And matter of fact, here's one today. My wife usually picks the clones and gets them for me. Her nose is a lot better than mine. This one here, though, I picked out. I have two of these of this style, and this one is one of them that I really do like the scent. Matter of fact, it's down to here now. It was inexpensive, a whole $10, and it's just one that, you know, from time to time I like to use. This is one of my wife's favorite here, and it's Clairborn for Men. Kind of tell a little bit's been used, just a little bit. But normally the wife, you know, does that sort of thing because her nose is a lot better than mine. She knows what she likes to smell. But anyhow, in other words, by the time everything's done and over with, how you say, my face has had a moment for the dry down. And I haven't really noticed an oily residue. That's the word I was looking for. Instead of aftertaste. So this morning, I think maybe I waited long enough. In other words, the witch hazel is not going to be a factor, I don't think. It could be, depending on how you want to look at it. Without the witch hazel, and if I went straight to Barbedeaux, would my skin soak up what I have that I'm putting on my face? Now, just to apply it, it does have a slickness to it. But I don't know, I haven't really paid that much attention to it. In other words, let's say, you know, before I ran out the door, I don't really notice it. So, and it might just be because of my skin type, whether or not it does it feel oily or not. Because I know that at times my skin does have a tendency to soak things up a bit. Even though I have oily skin, it does seem to soak it up pretty good though. Kind of an odd thing. You would think an oily skin wouldn't soak up near as much. But I don't really notice. I mean, it feels smooth. It doesn't feel oily to me. To be honest with you, I don't know that it feels any different than using like PAA's Aftershave or Vanillé's Aftershave. It leans that direction in an aftershave that I guess you might say is, I'd almost say it's better designed to keep your face moisturized. In other words, it's not like my Barbasol aftershave. Don't feel like it has a whole lot in the way of moisturizing, but it does have the alcohol and the menthol cooling effect, which is great. But as it goes for moisturizing, not so much. Really don't notice that with a Barbasol aftershave. Whereas with the Barbedeaux, I do notice it. And if I hadn't used the mentholated witch hazel, matter of fact, I can still feel it in between the two of them. My face is just, it's a tingling in a good way. It's not a bad way. My face is just feeling great. I really like using this. If I was just shaving every day with a handful of items, this is probably be one of those aftershaves that I would be using on a regular basis. I don't feel the citrus scent with this. My nose doesn't pick it up. Some do, mine doesn't. But I would think this would be definitely a great one for a daily shaver to use every day. I don't feel like the scent would be so strong to interfere with whatever cologne that you might be using later on. I don't feel like it would do such a thing, at least per my nose. And that's, you know, you're asking a lot out of my nose to pick up on stuff like that. It's pretty, my nose is rather simple. It may pick up one or two scents, and that's about all it'll pick up. It doesn't pick up a whole lot. It's kind of like soap sometimes, you know, off the puck. I can't remember which one it was the other day. Oh, it was Blackbeard from Black Ship Brewing. I pick up the lime off the puck right off the top, real quick like, but then later on I go to, you know, try to smell it again. I don't smell the lime at all. So it's, you know, for me it's a little frustrating, just a little, to have a nose like this. But at any rate, I guess it could be a little shiny maybe. Had a great shave. Jill, I hope that helps you out a little bit. I don't know if you can see what that looks like, if it's that much of a difference on me. I don't know if here on my cheeks it's a little shiny. But in other words, if I paid a little bit more attention and worked it in, it might be a little bit different. But for me, I don't really notice an oily residue. Had a great shave. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.